AJ Brown breaks silence on major knee concerns after Patriots Blockbuster trade. If AJ Brown's knee was really such a major concern, why were the Patriots willing to give up premium draft capital to bring him to New England? That question has followed one of the biggest moves of the offseason, and now Brown is finally addressing it himself. More importantly, his response may tell us a lot about how the Patriots view both his present and his future. When a team acquires a star player, the conversation usually centers on production, fit, and expectations. In Brown's case, however, another topic quickly emerged. Reports suggested that multiple teams had concerns about the condition of his knee before the trade became official. That immediately created an interesting contrast. On one side, there was a receiver widely regarded as one of the league's premier offensive weapons. On the other, there were questions about long term durability and whether those concerns could affect his value. Now that Brown is officially a Patriot, those questions have not disappeared. In fact, they followed him directly into his first media session. Speaking with reporters, Brown was asked about the state of his knee and whether the concerns surrounding it were legitimate. His answer was direct: no injury, there's nothing to worry about. Brown did not sound defensive. He did not sound uncertain. Instead, he appeared eager to dismiss the conversation entirely. From his perspective, the concern seems larger outside the building than it is inside it. He also suggested that discussions about his health may have become amplified because of his profile and career history. You gotta understand where I came from. So, any conversation about anything is going to come up. That comment is interesting because it highlights something that often happens when elite players become available. Every detail gets examined. Every injury history is revisited. Every missed game becomes part of a larger debate. And in Brown's case, the debate did not stop even after the trade became official. The timing makes sense. Reports indicated that concerns about Brown's knee played a role in how teams evaluated him during the offseason. One report suggested that the Los Angeles Rams chose not to match the asking price established by Eagles general manager Howie Roseman because of medical concerns. Whether that was the sole reason or simply one factor among many, the report helped fuel ongoing discussion about Brown's health. That is why his comments matter. Rather than avoiding the issue, he addressed it directly. Brown pointed to his availability over recent years as evidence that the concerns may be overstated. Maybe in 4 years I've missed one game from a shot to the knee. Then he added another important statement: so that's nothing to worry about. I'm ready to go. That response reflects how players often evaluate themselves. Availability matters, participation matters. If a player continues taking the field and producing at a high level, he may view outside concerns differently than evaluators, executives, or analysts. And that creates one of the most fascinating parts of this story. Both sides can believe they are right. A player can feel healthy and capable of performing. At the same time, teams can still study long term projections, future risk, and medical evaluations. Those are not necessarily conflicting viewpoints. They are simply different ways of assessing the same situation. For the Patriots, the most important factor may be what happened after the evaluation process. The organization had every opportunity to review Brown's medical situation before completing the deal. This was not a surprise acquisition. This was a major investment involving valuable draft assets. New England ultimately sent a 2028 first round pick and a 2027 fifth round pick to acquire Brown. That is not the type of move a team makes casually. It is a commitment. And when a franchise commits that level of capital, it typically has confidence in the information available to it. That does not mean there is zero risk. Every trade carries risk. Every player carries risk. The question is whether the potential reward outweighs that risk. Clearly, the Patriots believed it did. Another reason this story remains compelling is the presence of Mike Vrabel. Unlike many coaches around the league, Vrabel has first-hand experience with Brown dating back to their time together with the Tennessee Titans. That history naturally led reporters to ask whether familiarity with Brown influenced the Patriots' comfort level. Vrabel's answer was measured and thoughtful. Rather than focusing exclusively on Brown's knee, he discussed player management in broader terms. There's going to be a different plan for every single guy. That statement reveals something important about modern NFL roster management. Teams rarely treat every player exactly the same. Different athletes have different workloads. Different bodies respond differently throughout a long season. Different circumstances require different approaches. Vrabel acknowledged that reality without suggesting Brown faces any unique issue. Instead, he emphasized the importance of monitoring players over the course of an entire season. It's a long season. That may be the most significant part of his comments. The NFL season places enormous demands on players physically and mentally. Managing those demands is part of every organization's responsibility. Whether the player is a veteran star, a young contributor, or a key starter, teams constantly adjust workloads based on circumstances. Vrabel also pointed to something that supports Brown's case. Availability. He referenced the body of work Brown has already established. He referenced the games Brown has been able to play. And he expressed hope that past availability would lead to future availability. That perspective is notable because it focuses on actual participation rather than speculation. The Patriots are not evaluating Brown solely based on theoretical concerns. They are evaluating him based on what he has demonstrated throughout his career. Of course, this story is unlikely to disappear anytime soon. That may be unavoidable. Once a narrative becomes attached to a player, it often remains part of the conversation. In Brown's case, any future absence could immediately reignite discussions surrounding his knee. That does not mean the concerns are justified every time. It simply means the topic now exists as part of the public conversation. If Brown misses a game because of another issue entirely, questions may still surface. If he remains available week after week, supporters will point to his durability. Either way, the discussion is likely to continue. What makes this situation particularly interesting is that both Brown and the Patriots appear completely comfortable with where things stand. Brown says there is nothing to worry about. The Patriots completed the trade after conducting their evaluations. Vrabel publicly emphasized Brown's track record of availability. Taken together, those developments paint a fairly consistent picture. Inside the organization, there does not appear to be panic. There does not appear to be hesitation. There appears to be confidence. And confidence matters when a franchise makes a move of this magnitude. Ultimately, this story may come down to something very simple. Not what was said before the trade, not what was reported during negotiations, not even what was discussed during press conferences. The real answer will come on the field. If Brown continues doing what he has done throughout most of his career, the conversation will gradually shift away from medical concerns and back toward football. That is likely where both Brown and the Patriots want the focus to be. For now, though, the questions remain part of the storyline. Brown has offered his response. Vrabel has offered his perspective. The Patriots have demonstrated their belief through action. Now comes the next phase. Can Brown justify that confidence over the course of a full season? That is the question worth watching. And it is also the question I want to hear from you. Do you think the Patriots made the right decision prioritizing AJ Brown despite the concerns that reportedly existed around the league? Or would you have been more cautious before giving up future draft capital?